Yeah, my name is Rob Thompson. I'm co-founder of Ganymede Games. We're a video game development studio based in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Yeah, I grew up in a small town in New Jersey called Ringwood. I think the population's maybe 10 or 11,000 people. That's probably the most interesting thing about it is it's a small town, not a lot to do. So as kids growing up, we had to kind of make our own fun, if you will. Played a lot of street, sports, played a lot of video games, and yeah, I think that was the main difference in terms of growing up in that small town is, having to entertain yourselves and find things to do. So yeah, I play a lot of Nintendo 64. Got into PlayStation. That's really what got me involved with gaming was that group of friends that I grew up with. Yeah, yeah. I think my story is a bit of a unique case because I would go to school, get all my homework done, and then I would play a lot of video games. However, I didn't really expect playing a lot of video games to be the thing that prepared me for what I'm doing now as someone who runs a game studio. I would say though that one of the things that helped a lot was just getting the fundamentals down. Things like being able to write fairly well, listening, empathy, um, you know, time management, learning the difference between what's urgent, what's important. I think those were some of the things, but really, I think I just tried to follow my passion and what I was interested in, which was games and gaming. And I think that'd be one piece of advice is to you find the thing that you enjoy that doesn't really feel like work or that comes easy to you. And for me, that was using the internet, getting involved with gaming communities, playing games competitively. And I got a lot of, flack for that, a lot of like advice saying that you should, do something else. But I just kind of stuck to what was, that was kind of my guiding principle was just focusing on what I really enjoyed doing in my free time and then finding a way to turn that into a marketable skill set inside gaming. And it just so happened I got lucky that games became really popular at the same time, and it was kind of ahead of that period, if you will. When I was in high school, I played professional games and traveled to tournaments and things. Now that's a bit more mainstream, but I was definitely got picked on a little bit. I got people who said that was not a thing I should be doing or it was a waste of my time. But I think you have to have confidence in yourself that what you're doing, what you're passionate about, that there's something special there, and I think it's worth following that through. I think that's something I learned and paid off. Yeah, so I'm a co-founder of a game studio called Ganymede Games, and we are both developing and publishing our own video games on PC and console. My responsibilities fall into everything from publishing to operations, hiring folks, the game production. So my days are very, much diverse and different. A lot of being on the phone, answering emails, talking to people, preparing marketing. I try to divide up my days so I'm focused on one major thing each day, so that I'm not switching between different contexts. But yeah, so it's a lot of I think no matter what you do, you have to communicate with people. I think, and that goes back to the fundamentals of being able to write well, be able to listen, empathize with where people are at. So yeah, my daily checking email, working on projects. Could be working on a marketing campaign. It could be playtesting the game. It could be interviewing candidates. So it's a pretty wide set of things that I do day to day. Yeah. Yeah, I think that today there's a lot more classes and programs that are focused on games. I think there's even scholarships and there's universities and high school programs that focus on gaming and esports and all of those skills. When I grew up, there wasn't such a thing. So what I had to do was volunteer at events and find ways to get experience to build my resume. And I think that actually was the most valuable thing, was just getting out there, getting that experience, meeting people, because nothing really can replicate that experience. So my first experiences that there were, the team that I played for was called VVV Gaming, and I volunteered to write blog articles, and then I volunteered to help host online events. Then I volunteered to be a referee for the World Cyber Games, which is a big esports tournament in New York. I took a train to New York City and I set up computers and made sure people follow the right settings in the game. And then I volunteered at Major League Gaming events as well. You have to. There's not many jobs in the field, so you have to put yourself out there and get that experience. And I think when you're young, you have a lot of time. You have the most free time you'll ever have, and so utilizing that to try different things and get experience is really valuable. I would say though that nowadays there are a lot more credentials you can get in school or through programs at specialized game development schools or esports programs. I wish those were available when I was growing up, but there wasn't such a thing at the time. Yeah, no one. It's an interesting story. No one on our team is from New Mexico or has ties here. After living in New Jersey, I went to high school in Connecticut, and then I moved out to LA to pursue my career in games, and then was in Europe for a while doing games at another company. And while there, Jerry and I, a co-founder, we knew we wanted to start our own studio, and we knew we couldn't do it in Europe because we weren't residents. So we had to, look where in the U.S. We had the rare opportunity to look where in the U.S. we wanted to set up a studio, and so we did a multi-state tour across Dallas. We looked at Phoenix, and New Mexico was one of those stops along the way as well. And we really just fell in love with everything that New Mexico has to offer. It's kind of a undiscovered gem, we feel. There's a lot of talented young people here who are hungry, who are driven, who are motivated, which are things that are important to us. And there's also great, quality of life. And this was all pre-pandemic when everyone was still kind of game development still centered in California, but there's a lot of companies that are looking outside of that area now because of what's going on. But yeah, it was the quality of life, the people, the talent, and then also the business environment as well. There's some great incentives for game companies, film companies here, but really it was more of the fact that we just felt like it was a place where we could be successful. Yeah, it's a tricky question. If I look back 5 years ago, I wouldn't have expected to be where I am now. I would say that what I'm passionate about is building companies and specifically in the gaming space. It's a area that I'm passionate about, I understand, and it's kind of how I grew up, and it's what I feel like I owe a debt of gratitude to as well. It's really kind of helped me in a lot more ways, just professionally, as my personal passion as well. So I think I'll be continuing to be in the gaming space, making games, making experiences for players that are fun, that are entertaining, that are enjoyable. So I think that's my best guess at what would be to come. Yeah, this is some historic armor on the wall here that we got in the UK, and then there's also a ton of market research, board games and other games. When you're making games, you kind of have to live and breathe the hobby, and you have to stay up to date with everything, which is a lot of fun as well. But it's also important that we take it seriously. So.